So, today we're going to talk about something you probably do every single day without even thinking about it. And we're going to follow that simple little habit all the way down a rabbit hole to one of the deepest puzzles in all of philosophy. And it all starts with seeing faces in things that don't actually have faces.
All right, let's just jump right in. Take a look at this. It's a Danish electrical socket. But what do you see? I mean, what emotion are you seeing right there? Is it surprise, shock, a little bit of panic? Well, whatever you saw, you just did something that is so profoundly human.
So that impulse, to see a face, to see an emotion, to see an intention there, it's not just some random quirk. It's a really fundamental part of how we see the world. It's this deep-seated tendency we have to see a human-like presence, well, pretty much everywhere.
And yeah, there's actually a word for this, anthropomorphism. Basically, it's just our habit of giving human traits, emotions, intentions, you name it, to things that aren't human. We do it with our pets, we talk to our cars, and yep, we even do it with electrical sockets. It's almost like our brain's default setting.
And believe me, this instinct runs so deep. Check this out. Way back in 1944, a couple of psychologists, Heider and Semmel, they showed people this really simple animation. Just a big triangle, a little triangle, and a circle moving around. And you know what's wild? Almost nobody saw just a bunch of shapes. No, they saw a story. They described the big triangle as a bully, and the other two shapes as being scared and trying to escape. It just goes to show we are absolutely wired to see minds and motives at work, even in the simplest things.
And look, this isn't something new. It's not like we just started doing this because of cartoons or something. Let's actually take a look at just how far back this habit goes, because this tendency to see the human in the non-human, man, it's woven right into the fabric of our history. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of years. Think about it. 40,000 years ago, our ancestors were carving the Lowenmensch, a figure with a human body and a lion's head. Fast forward thousands of years, and you've got Aesop and the writers of India's Panchatantra using talking animals to teach us about ourselves. Even ancient Greek philosophers like Xenophanes were writing about our habit of making gods that look and act just like us. So yeah, this isn't just some quirky habit. It's literally part of our inheritance as a species.
Xenophanes really hit the nail on the head with this. He saw how kind of ridiculous it was. He basically said, hey, if cows and horses could draw, you know who their gods would look like? Cows and horses. He got it, even way back then. We can't help but project ourselves on everything we don't understand. We just assume the whole universe has to think and feel just like we do.
Okay, so let's recap. We are masters at seeing minds everywhere, right? We give them to animals, to shapes, to the weather. But now we're going to take a sharp turn, because we're going to go from the minds we see everywhere to the one mind we can never, ever truly know. The one inside the person standing right next to you.
I mean, think about how generous we are with this. We give minds to cartoon characters. We plead with our cars to start in the morning. We see a face in a wall socket. It really does seem like our human superpower.
And that's what makes this next question so absolutely mind-bending. You know you're conscious. You have thoughts, feelings, a whole inner world. But how can you be absolutely sure, like 100% positive, that anyone else does? That any mind exists besides your own?
And this, right here, is what philosophers call the problem of other minds. It's the challenge of trying to justify our belief that other people aren't just really sophisticated robots, behaving like they have an inner life, but maybe there's just nothing going on inside. It's a strange thought, and it leads to this super radical idea called solipsism, the theory that maybe, just maybe, your mind is the only one that actually exists, anywhere.
The whole problem really boils down to this fundamental gap. See, your own mind, you experience it directly, from the inside. It's just there. You don't have to guess. But anyone else's mind, you can only ever know it indirectly. You see what they do, you hear what they say, and from that you have to infer what's going on in their head.
And this gap is so huge, so profound, that philosophers have spent centuries just trying to build a bridge across it. I mean, how do we justify this gut feeling we all have that we aren't the only conscious being in the room? Let's look at a couple of the classic attempts.
Okay, so the most common sense answer is something called the argument from analogy. It's pretty simple, really. It goes like this. Step 1, I know I have a mind. Step 2, I know my thoughts and feelings cause me to act in certain ways.
Step 3, I look over at you and I see you acting in really similar ways. So step 4, I figure, hey, your behavior must also be caused by a mind, just like mine. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Just good old common sense.
Well, as you can probably guess, philosophers started poking holes in this argument almost immediately. For starters, you're making this huge conclusion about billions of people based on a sample size of 1. Just you. That's not great evidence. And more importantly, there's no way to check if you're right. You can never actually get inside someone else's head and confirm, yep, there's a mind in there. So while it feels right, it doesn't actually give us the certainty we're looking for.
So, okay, another approach that's a bit more solid is called inference to the best explanation. This one is kind of like thinking like a scientist. The idea is pretty simple. The theory that other people have conscious minds is just, well, it's the best explanation for what we see. It makes the most sense of all the incredibly complex, subtle, and meaningful behavior we see every single day. I mean, any other theory, like that everyone else is a super advanced robot, it's just way, way more complicated and frankly a lot weirder.
But what if we're going about this all wrong? What if trying to prove other minds exist with logic and theory is just not the right way to think about it? Some thinkers, particularly the philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein, suggested that maybe we're just asking the completely wrong question.
Wittgenstein had this really incredible way of putting it. He said, my attitude towards him is an attitude towards a soul. What does that even mean? Well, his point is that when we interact with another person, we're not running some kind of logical proof in our heads. We don't see a body and then deduce, therefore there must be a mind inside. No, we just see a person, full stop. Believing in other minds isn't a conclusion we arrive at, it's the stance we start from. It's our default way of being with others.
And that, believe it or not, brings us right back to where we started. Back to our funny little habit of seeing faces in wall sockets. What if that impulse, that constant, automatic anthropomorphism, isn't just some weird psychological quirk? What if our superpower for seeing minds absolutely everywhere is the very thing that saves us from that deep philosophical problem? Could it be that this deep-seated instinct to see a you out there in the world is the very thing that saves us from the terrifying solitude of being locked inside the only mind we can ever truly know?